another episode of Your Alumni Season 2. Today we have Ms. Haripriya with us. She is B.Tech 2017 graduate from NIFTEM, after which she was working with Nestle for almost 3 years, and then she left the job to pursue her master's in environmental studies and resource management from TERI School of Advanced Studies. Welcome, ma'am. How are you?
So much, Sankal, for having me here. I'm doing great.
Can we start the interview with your 4 years at NIFTEM? Tell us about
Yes, yes. Okay, so about Nifton, it was a very mixed journey. It was like we were just out of our school life, and you know it already. Like even the viewers know it all. So it was a very mixed journey. There was a lot of learning, and there were a lot of like friends on and off, making friends and getting apart from them. So it was a very exciting journey, and I would love to relive those moments. I sometimes feel we took so many things for granted in university, considering so many project work that we did, and also a lot of collaborations with different universities and different organizations which NIFTEM provided us. But I feel like it just paid off. Like so many things happen in NIFTEM, and today whatever I am, it's solely because of NIFTEM. So yeah.
Great, ma'am. And after NIFTEM, you joined Nestle. So tell us about your work profile there.
Okay, so Nestle was altogether a roller coaster ride for me. I was not just in one profile, which I am proud of. I was into manufacturing, like I was into production, then I got into quality, and like I also got a stint with environment sustainability project. So they were doing with plastic waste management rules. So I got into that. That's where I started working with the slum people, like the ones with the rag pickers. So which is where like I had like holistic view of what happens within organizations. So we had consortiums with different organizations like Dabur, Perfetti, and so many other organizations were there together. So I think Nestle actually provided a big platform for me to understand people management, and also like learning besides the technical learning which I got into production as well as quality. Something most important that I learned was how to manage people and how to get best out of them. So it's not just that as a leader, you're not like someone who keeps working. It's also about delegating the work and getting to know your team. So I think that's something I learned with Nestle. And I worked with 4 factories. One was Nestle Mysore, which was coffee plant. Then I got into Taliwal, Nestle Taliwal, which was into Maggie and Munch, and a lot of products were there. And then I also got along with Pantnagar University, Pantnagar Nestle, and then again I got which where I worked with a lot of universities there also in Pantnagar, and then I got back to head office. So head office was my last stint with Nestle.
That's very interesting. So, ma'am, basic thing that a question that arises in everybody's mind is that why did you shift to environmental studies all after pursuing your bachelor's in food technology and management?
Something my parents asked me too, why do you want to just change your career altogether? And so many of my well-wishers were so curious to know why I want to shift my whole life towards something that I did not study for 4 years. So I did not see it as a different entity. I realized that food has so much to do with environment. It's not a different area altogether. You need to have environmental knowledge as well, technical know-how of what your impact, how impact you're creating to the environment. So when I was in the industry, I realized that there was a lot of waste that was being generated within the factory itself, which was something I did not make peace with. So I was really disturbed with that idea of how we are creating a lot of plastic waste, a lot of waste going to our rivers, and which is treated for sure, like the standards are maintained, but then again we are creating a lot of footprint in environment. And I was very restless about that fact, and I realized that maybe I want to contribute to something that I can learn how we can make things better, which are like the current situation. So I realized that maybe I really need to have some technical knowledge before just getting into how food industry can make things better in environment, with hand in hand. So yes, that was my first thing that I wanted to do, because when I realized that how much plastic waste we are generating when I was working with rat pickers, that was a shock. Like I went to the landfill, and that was like the eye-opening moment for me. Realize that we have so much to contribute to the environment, and we are a very crucial part of the environment as humans. So I realized that no, there's a huge need that people like us realize our responsibilities. So we can't just keep dumping on the earth. We need to somehow pamper it as well. So that was my driving force towards choosing environment field.
So, ma'am, what were some of the challenges you faced from changing like totally profession from a food technologist to environment student?
Many challenges, I would say, in terms of social and in terms of also my knowledge. So for 4 years, we have done very concrete work on food and how food industries work. But when I came to this field, it was altogether a different field. Like, and I'm pursuing masters right now, so it's not like I'm pursuing bachelors. So my faculties would expect me to have a basic know-how of how environment, what are some of the nuances of environment field. So I think that was one of my biggest challenges, to actually come to a level where I can be fine with environment discussions, like maybe related to the standards, maybe related to waste management, or maybe related to biodiversity. So right now, like I have like a little inclination towards wildlife conservation. So considering I don't even have a bio background, so it was really challenging, and it's still challenging. But I think it's something that excites me. So it doesn't, bring me down that I don't know much about how wildlife and zoology and botany works. But it's something that gives me a kick. So I think, yeah, it's a very challenging field, considering it's a very holistic idea of pursuing something related to environment. You can't just think about the environment, you have to think about the social concerns and also the economic aspects related to any intervention that you want to bring in the environment field. So you need to be a really thoughtful person. You can't just think from one point of view. So you can't be just a deep ecologist. You need to think about the people as well, the communities who will be directly impacted by your decisions. So I think that's the regular challenge any environmentalist faces in our, not only in our country but anywhere in the world. Keeping together everyone and building a resilient community. So that's something we strive for every day. So yeah, that's like the challenge wherever I feel.
Something about your masters.
Right. So for my master's, I had chosen a very broad field, considering I don't have a basic background in environment. So I've chosen environmental studies and resource management. So in our university, we have a lot of courses like very specific, related to climate science policy, related to renewable energy, so and related to water governance. So there are a lot of courses, but then I chose environment studies considering I want to explore more. I don't want to get into any very specific thing and then realize maybe I don't fit there, or maybe that thing doesn't excite me. So in my course, we typically study everything. So it's like jack of all trades. So we have water governance, we have air pollution, we have solid waste management, like I mentioned before. We have ecology, wildlife, biodiversity, and like everything you touch, and governance. So you also learn the nuances of policy making, how to keep, how to bring, how to trigger discussions across the table with the right people who will bring the change. So I think we are studying a lot of things related to environment. Anything under the sky you think that it is related to environment. In fact, food security. So we are also studying about food security because it's something that cannot be missed out. How agriculture is being impacted with the climate change, everybody needs to understand as an environmentalist. What is the what kind of temperatures are required for our crops, and with the rising temperature in a climate change, how it's getting impacted. What is the productivity loss? What is the yield loss? And how the people, the farmers, typically how their lives are getting impacted. So in short, everything, the amalgamation of anything under the sky you feel which is related to environment, we study in these 4 semesters. Yeah.
That's a lot to take. So, what are your plans after after your masters? Would you be working in a food and environmental kind of thing, or just the environmental thing?
So for now, I want to be really open. I don't want to restrict myself to one field. I'm still exploring. So this is my third semester to be precise, but it's just the beginning of the third semester. Like there's just two semesters that I've undertaken with the course. Um, like I said before, I have a little bit inclination towards wildlife conservation. So I am planning to get involved into research related projects which will be focusing on wildlife. So wildlife, by wildlife, I don't really mean just the animals and plants. It's also the people, the communities, the local tribal people, or maybe the rural community, which is a very integral part of the wildlife system. So I'm planning to, like, I'm trying my best to get as much as knowledge possible in all the fields, but I'm just taking care that, okay, this is something that excites me. So all thanks to my professors and my friends, like, who are there with me in the class. So I think the discussions around wildlife is something that I want to get into. I've also taken up elective food securing, learning about the food. I didn't want to waste one more chance to learn about how food security works, because food security we never learned as a subject. It was more or less about the industrial food management, processing to be precise. So yes, that's something that I'm focusing on right now.
Great. So, can you tell us something about your personal projects that you have undertaken and you regularly update about it on Instagram?
Okay, thank you so much, Sankal, for asking that. So, okay, so what I try to do in my regular life is, so whatever I'm learning during classroom discussions, or maybe different organizations that I keep attending the webinars, or so I try to implement them in my personal life. I try to see what I can, challenge my own lifestyle. I can move it towards more sustainable lifestyle. So that's something I struggle a lot of times, like any one of us, like, it's like rejecting the plastic cutlery and opting for your steel spoons, like carrying your own dabba, and like your own, like I don't have steel straws also. I don't really prefer having steel straws. So I'm like no straws person. So yeah, so and then also one thing that I'm doing, which you mentioned about, is this bioenzyme. So I'm like getting my hands dirty into the bioenzyme processing, like how to not let your citrus fruit peels to go in the garbage, because everything that biodegradable goes to the garbage actually goes to the landfill. We accept it or not, it goes, because our system right now, it's not really sufficient, efficient, that we can actually segregate our waste if it's not segregated at household level, because sometimes we also segregate at household level and it gets mixed outside. So in short, it's good that we, whatever food we are generating, food waste we are generating at home, let's try to use it as a resource instead of waste. So that was one thing that I was trying to do. Like also for the banana peels, I was trying to not throw them in the garbage, and like sort of keep them for 2 days in the water, and then it's all potassium rich water for plants. So some small things, like just to have a shift from my regular lifestyle. Another thing that I'm right now into is, there's a UN group of Sustainable Development Goals group, SDG Student Hub in my university. So we are a hub which is affiliated by United Nations. So we are directly working on the SDGs. So there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals right now for us to achieve before 2030. So it's like a global agenda. So we students are currently working on that. So I have been elected as the SDG coordinator for this year, and there are 80 hubs, 80 plus hubs all over the world. So we are one of the hubs. And in India, fortunately, it's only my university who has that hub. I won't call it fortunately, I would rather call it unfortunately, because more the merrier. But then, yeah, so I'm working with different SDGs, like trying to trigger discussions on different targets. So we have 169 targets on our SDG goals. So like trying to trigger discussions on every SDG. Like for example, if it's life on land, so we are trying to focus on different days. Like maybe we had World Elephant Day, we had the Tiger Day. So we're trying to bring discussions of, okay, what are the human and even conflicts? Or what are the human tiger conflicts? So I think these discussions need to come forth more, because they're not separate from our other fields. Like for example, life on land. So we talk about how human elephant conflicts are something that are rising at a great level, and we need to trigger those discussions. Like, see, those conflicts are not just related to wildlife, they're also impacting the farmers, because farmers crops are getting hampered because of the elephants coming to their fields, and creating a lot of havoc in their community. So yes, there has to be a lot of discussions on it, and I try my best with my team in my university to trigger those discussions and also do a lot of projects. So we also collaborate with students of schools specifically because we feel that it's only the students and our young generations who can actually bring the change. The ones who are there right now are doing great work. I won't say that the generations, our generation or the before generations were completely wrong. It's a very wrong on our part if we conclude that it's like they did all the wrong part and then now it's our responsibility. They did their part. Now it's our duty to focus on what can be done right now. And I think it's amazing to connect with the students of different schools. So we connect with a lot of government schools. So like we bring them to our university. Our university is almost like a green campus. We have solar panels, we have windmill, we have rainwater harvesting systems. So we kind of make them, accustomed to these ideas. And yeah, so I think bringing the culture of having sustainability as part of your life, not just like something that you do, it's for fancy or maybe it's just like a trend, just getting with the feel and actually making sure that that becomes your integral part of your life is something I am striving for every day. So yeah, that's the deal for me right now.
That's really inspiring, ma'am. So, what advice would you give to food technologists who would like to follow your footsteps?
I would say make your own journey. Okay, if there's nothing to. Okay, I have my own, challenges in my life. I have my own story to tell. I'm like still crafting my own story. I would say see where you can contribute to the community. I think that's really important for us. It's it's fine. We earn a lot in our life, but if we are not putting it into right place, right? So we can all be focused in our lives, and we can grow. We can become managers. We can become CEOs, and we sure are doing so much. The Niftemites are doing great in food industry. So even in TERI, Sankalp, when I it was an induction for us, I actually mentioned that I'm from NIFTEM, and they were like, "What are you doing here? Why are you not doing masters in NIFTEM?" That's what professors told me. So NIFTEM is really famous, and for the right kind of academic, process that students go through in NIFTEM. But the thing is that we sometimes fail to understand our responsibilities towards our community. And that's very important because we are an integral part of it. And we privileged people who have the knowledge, who have the know how, can actually change the community. I'm not asking to change the world or maybe anything that's just utopic, thing. But then what you can do is try to find ways to bring change in your community. And that's really important. So you don't have to get into environment field like I did. All you have to do is find right reasons for you to do what you're doing right now. And if you see no reason, change it. Change it right then. If you feel that whatever you're doing right now doesn't serve the purpose of your life, chuck it. Just go for something that makes excited all the time. That gives you a kick. That makes you feel that okay, you did something beneficial for the community, for your family, for your people. And don't listen to a lot of people when they say that, oh my God, you're doing something that's not really conventional. Because conventional things don't really work for long run. You might have some midlife crisis and you will be like, what if I tried that one thing? What if I tried that one sports? Or maybe you want to get into something, anything, but do something which actually brings the purpose of your life. So for me, Sankalp, that was a calling. I realized when I was working with rat pickers, I realized this is not my thing. I can't just keep creating a lot of plastic waste and not be responsible for it. So I was like, maybe I need to change my life. I need to change the career. And it's not like I want to waste my 4 years people, like they will keep saying, why are you wasting your years? You spend so much time in your B.Tech. What about that? It's fine. It's okay. It's fine to realize that that's not your cup of tea. And you want to get into something which will create a lot of impact in community. So the message I want to give to all the people who are listening to this is find the purpose of your life. It's fine. You'll keep earning. You'll earn a lot. But what is the purpose of it? Hannah? Like, if you find even one single purpose, that's fine. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. But if you don't find one, I would suggest start introspecting. Take a lot of personal exercises of of understanding what your personality is and what you might be good at. And maybe it's fine if you're not good at something, but you believe in something. Like, I was not really good into environmental technical know-how, but I realized that that's something I want to learn, and that makes my day every day. I'm doing it. So the key message is that find the purpose of your life. It's okay to fail, it's okay to fall, but it's very important to rise again. And as cliche as it sounds, it's very important to contribute to the community and build a resilient community around you. That's like my message for everyone, not only NIFTEMites, everyone who's watching this.
It's truly inspirational, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.